Recording in progress.
All right, I want to sincerely welcome everyone once again to this uh, May technical webinar. I really appreciate everyone for joining early. I want to sincerely welcome each and every one of us, and I'm very sure today is going to be another uh, eye-opening section for us, as we already have our esteemed guest speaker in our midst already. So we shall kickstart this program fully. So welcome once again. I really appreciate every one of you. So this is agenda for the day. I want us to gloss through the agenda while we proceed forward in today's program. As you can see from the arrival, opening prayer, branch anthem, introduction, welcome address, safety moments, addressed by the chairman, citation of the guest, followed by the lecture proper. And the next thing we'll be talking about will be the question and answer, moving to the closing remark, vote of thanks, and branch anthem. So sit back as we start today's program fully. Thank you very much for joining early. I really appreciate every one of you.
All right, thank you, sir.
So we shall start with the opening prayer, which is the third stanzas of national uh, pledge.
O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty Nigeria may be
Amen.
blessed.
So moving to the branch anthem.
There is no other branch of the NSC like Ikeja branch. He's the 32nd branch of the NSC. He's a branch to match. Building a viable engineering culture dedicated to bring out the best and to nurture the best of the best. The second to none is Ikeja branch. The best of the best. The second to none is Ikeja branch. With God on our side will be no fair and wide where the branch to watch. With wisdom we will lead and discretion we will build will be known for certain. Together we will make a great nation, proud innovations and professionalism all around. The best of the best, the second to none is Ikeja branch. The best of the best, the second to none is Ikeja branch.
Thank you once again. I really appreciate everyone for joining early. So I will be taking the welcome address for today's webinar. Good evening, distinguished guests, esteemed elders, respected colleagues, and members of the Nigeria Society of Engineers, Ikeja branch. My name is Engineer Olubumi Emmanuel Akimboboye, MNSC, the Technical Secretary of the Nigeria Society of Engineers, Ikeja branch, and the chairman of the Technical and Professional Development Committee of NSE Ikeja branch. On behalf of the Executive Committee of the Nigeria Society of Engineers Ikeja branch, I warmly welcome you all to today's insightful webinar themed the Mastering, Networking, and Relationship for Personal and Professional Growth. It is indeed a great pleasure to have everyone connected from different locations to be part of this impactful section focused on building meaningful connections, strengthening professional relationships, and positioning ourselves for greater opportunities and growth in both personal and professional lives. At this junction, especially recognize and warmly welcome our amiable chairman, Engineer Nimot Muili, FNSC PMP, the distinguished executive committee members of NSE Ikeja branch, our revives and esteemed elders and past chairmen of NSE Ikeja branch, esteemed corporate members, the vibrant graduate members, and promising student members, our highly respected guest speakers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen that joined us today. Your presence reflects the importance of continuous learning, collaboration, and professional engagement within our engineering community and beyond. Today's topic is not just timely about highly esteemed, where opportunities, innovation, mentorship, leadership, and career advancement are greatly influenced by the quality of relationship. We build and maintain networking. Networking is no longer just about exchange contacts. It is about creating a value, building trust, fostering collaboration, and opening doors to transformation and success. We are privileged to have a seasoned guest speaker in our midst today, Engineer Dr. Idifon Agbiji, FNSC, who will be sharing his practical insights, experience, and strategies that will empower us to intentionally build networks and relationships that will positively shape our career, businesses, leadership journey, and personal development. As we proceed, I encourage everyone to participate actively, stay engaged throughout this section, and take full advantage of this wealth of knowledge that will be shared today. Once again, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, welcome you all to this enlightening webinar, which is our May section. We honored individuals that have joined early. We say thank you very much for joining early today. And I'm very sure today is going to be an impactful, inspiring, and rewarding section for each and every one of you. Thank you once again for joining early. I really appreciate you all. So at this junction, we'll be going to our safety moment. We'll be going to our safety moment, which we know is very, very important for us to actually take, while I'll be calling on Favor to actually give us the safety moment for today.
Good evening, everyone here on this call. Good evening, Chairman, elders of the branch, executive committee members present here, and every other member of the branch. I'll be taking today safety moment for this technical webinar. Please ensure you stay connected throughout. It's going to be this webinar is going to be a very exciting webinar. Avoid distraction and unnecessary multitasking during this meeting. We please you to join from a quiet and safe environment. Ensure your devices are properly charged and we have a very stable internet connection. Please ensure you mute your device when not speaking. Take short screen breaks to reduce your eye strain and fatigue. And whenever you want to make interaction, you can use the raise up hand feature on Zoom, and also you can make use of the chat box. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Vivo, for that brief safety moment for our guest that is already on the call and all our members that's on the call. Please let us try as much as possible to adhere with this safety precaution, because this is actually going to help us in the process. In addition, when you are sitting for long during this process, please ensure you take a walk around so that you not be seated for long. Ensure you practice ergonomics. Thank you very much, everyone, once again for joining. So at this moment, I will be calling, move to the next stage, which is the welcome address of ABU chairman, Engineer Nimot Muli FNSC, the chairman of Nse Ikeja branch, as she will be giving us the opening remark as opening address. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
All right, thank you very much, our technical secretary, Engineer Olubunmi Akinboboye, MNSC. I also appreciate today's speaker, Engineer Ikeja, my dear friend and brother. Thank you very much for coming forward to give us a webinar on this very important topic on networking.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you, my
yes,
chairman.
yeah, you're welcome. It is a topic that is really very important to enable us appreciate the value of our time whenever we go out. Beyond what we primarily focus on at the events, we should also recognize that it's important that we network, and we network meaningfully. They said your network is your net worth. So thank you very much for coming around to give us this topic. I acknowledge the presence of our leaders that are on the call, the executives, the young engineers, and also members from other branches as well. I thank you for being a part of this webinar, and I trust that it's going to be a very rewarding session because I know who Engineer Guji is. Thank you all, and let's dive into it. So our young engineers, please take this very, very seriously. You're just going in your career and you find yourself at various places. So you need to know the importance of networking. It has worked for some of us and it's still working. And I trust that we get some new insights, either as reminders, new nuggets. Just make sure that you take every bit of it and be ready to be enriched and take good advantage of this opportunity. Thank you very much, and I yield back to our anchor, our technical secretary and the chairman of the Professional Development Committee, Engineer Olubunmi Akinboboye, MNSC. Thank you. You have the floor, Engineer Akinboboye.
Thank you very much, our ABU chairman. We really appreciate you. We thank you for your support always, and to always ensuring that we push the branch forward every time. Thank you very much for that wonderful and a brief welcome address. Thank you very much. So moving forward, we'll be going to the citation of the key of our guest speaker of the day. We'll be going to the citation right away.
Engineer Ndifanambe Agbiji is a civil/water resources engineering expert and industry veteran with a sustained commitment to inspiring a culture of excellence in engineering practice at regional, national, and international levels. Dr. Agbiji holds a Bachelor of Engineering, Master's in Engineering, and a PhD in Civil Engineering from the prestigious University of Nigeria, Nsukka. He has also attended several training courses both in Nigeria and abroad. A COREN registered engineer and a distinguished Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, he is a member of the following professional organizations: Fellow, the Nigerian Institution of Water Engineers, NIWE, Fellow, the Nigerian Institution of Environmental Engineers, NIEE, Fellow, the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, NICE, Member International Commission on Large Dams, ICOLD, Member Nigerian Commission on Large Dams, NICOLD, Member International Hydropower Association, IHA, an accomplished civil engineer and an expert in water resources engineering with emphasis in hydraulic structures. He is the Secretary, Environmental and Hydropower Safety Committee of the West and Central Africa Hydropower Association. He has been involved in the design and construction of key engineering infrastructure covering dams, reservoirs, irrigation systems, urban water supply, and several road/erosion/flood control projects. Dr. Agbiji is currently a co-opted member of NSE Council. He has served as two-time National Executive Committee member of NSE, Vice Chairman of Membership Services Board, Chairman Admission and Mentorship Committee, Member Business and Rules Committee of Council, Member NSE Cooperative Society Committee. Positions held in recent past are Chairman COPEE, Vice Chairman Professional Development Board, Member Statutory Audit Committee of NSE, past Chairman of South-South Branch Chairman. Recently appointed as Member Advisory Board of the Engineering Business School. Dr. Agbiji has to his credit over 41 awards from different organizations, including the revered Presidential Merit Award of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. In recognition of his vast industry-academia experience, the management of the University of Cross River State, Unicross, appointed him as Senior Lecturer, visiting in the Department of Civil Engineering of the university. Engineer Dr. Agbiji is a trailblazer in networking and relationship building. He is the president and founder, Engineer Nedifon Agbiji, Science, Technology, and Engineering Foundation, ASTEF, a foundation which is currently promoting research and development in some key universities in Nigeria. He is married and blessed with children. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's welcome Engineer Dr. Nedifon Agbiji, FNSE, FNICE, FNIWE, FNIEE.
Thank you very much, Engineer Nedifon. You have the floor now. Thank you very much for accepting into this today's program. We really appreciate it, sir.
Thank you so very much, my dear brother.
You can start sharing your screen now.
All right. The chairman of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Ikeja branch, my dear friend and sister, Engineer Nimot Muli, FNSE, FNIEE, PMP, the members of ESCO of NSE Ikeja branch, very esteemed elders of our branch, and devoted past chairman of NSE Ikeja branch, who have hitherto laid the foundation for the successes we enjoy in Ikeja branch. Fellows and corporate members of our great society on the call, friends of NSE Ikeja branch, graduate members of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, student members, distinguished colleagues on the call this evening, permit me to quickly recognize a few of our colleagues, members of my team who are on the call. Most prominent is Engineer Iniobong Antia. I'd like to specially welcome you and recognize you. The anchor of this webinar, the very erudite technical secretary of the NSE Ikeja branch, very distinguished engineer Lubimi Akimboboye, MNSE. Thank you for laying the background for this webinar. And permit me to specially commend the chairman and leader of the NSE Ikeja branch. And like we've seen in the anthem, the branch anthem, like we read and did recite, Ikeja branch is indeed the best of the best not just striving to be the best, but the best of the best of the NSE branches amongst the over 94 branches of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. It will interest you to know that the Ikeja branch has been first and several first in the programs and activities of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. And no wonder the branch is christened building a viable engineering culture. So I'd like to specially thank the leaders of Nse Ikeja branch through our very, very pragmatic, forward-thinking chair, my sister engineer Nimot Muli, FNSC, for the great strides we've achieved over time. Please, can you see my slide? Is my slide visible, please?
No, not yet.
Yes, it's visible now.
It's visible now. All right, distinguished colleagues, this evening we shall be considering one of the very important pillars of relationship building, one of the important pillars of progressive thinking in the 21st century, and that is mastering networking and relationship building for life and business. And of course, for engineers, it has to do with our professional growth. Distinguished colleagues, we are trained to solve problems with mathematics, codes, and standards as engineers. But the fastest way to apply those solutions is to get hired, first of all. To get projects, to secure projects, to get mentored, and to get promoted in our places of assignment. And all of this is achieved through people, through human beings. Networking is not just about collecting business cards or small talk at events like we have this evening. So for engineers, it's about building a power circle. It's about having a small group of people who know what you can do and those who trust your work and your ethic. And open doors you can't reach alone. The projects you want aren't advertised, most often than not. The advice that saved you 2 years on site isn't in any textbook. It comes from relationships. Over the next few minutes, therefore, distinguished colleagues, I'll break down how to do this without feeling fake or draining yourself dry. We'll cover 3 basic things. Number 1, how to give value first, even as a young engineer, a middle-level engineer, or a senior engineer. 2, how to stay visible without spamming people. And of course, number 3, how to turn a 5-minute conversation into a relationship that lasts. If you leave here with one thing today, let it be this: your technical skills get you in the room, but your relationships, of course, your networks, decides how far you go once you are in the room. And so, distinguished colleagues, for every organization, there are core values that drive such organizations. And these values span from innovation, sustainability, diversity, collaboration, and of course, performance. Sorry, I can't find my screen. All right. And of course, performance. So, I'm not here to speak about building fresh networks in this webinar. I'm here to show you why most engineers network wrongly. And of course, in this webinar, we shall be discussing how to fix the wrong networks and how our networks could actually earn us projects, earn us new roles, earn us partnerships in organizations and in business. And on this slide, permit me to again quickly recognize the first ever female president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, who is a proud leader, a proud offshoot, a proud offspring of the Nse Ikeja branch. Very distinguished Engineer Margaret Ainao Gontala, FNSC. And on this slide, we can find a picture of a network that was built several years ago. It was while I was the branch chairman of NSC Calabar branch, myself as a branch chairman, the immediate past president of NSC, and of course, the sitting president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. So this talks about partnership. It speaks volumes to how we can establish meaningful networks and relationships. And so, distinguished colleagues, quickly, let's look at the act of networking. So how do we network? How do we build networks? Right in this meeting, right in the room, we have over 30 participants in this webinar this evening. And so every day we find ourselves in places. We find ourselves in shuttles, find ourselves in the metro. We get into our offices, in our places of business. We attend meetings of the society. We attend conferences. We get in the waiting lounge of the airport. We hop into the airplane. And amidst all of this activity, we are having discussions. We are communicating. We are interacting. Probably virtually on Instagram, on WhatsApp, on Facebook. We get to meet individuals. We're interacting. And so we constantly make connections and relationships, both physically and virtually. And distinguished colleagues, to successfully navigate through life, we need to interact and build relationships. And so this day-to-day activity, these interactions, these meetings, these relationships are called networks. In networking, we find critical problems while networking or building relationships. And so what are the common problems? Why do engineers stay stuck? We find engineers out of business, out of employment, out of contracts. I was interacting with a very senior engineer last night, and for 3 years, 4 years running, is out of contracts and projects. He's a consultant, he's a contractor. So why do we get stalled? Most often than not, most of us rely on our CVs and our certificates, but the secular world has gone beyond that. Who gets called at any project or any startup role is who is known by the decision makers. And so your network is your shortcut. And so most engineers get stopped because over-reliance on technical skills. Yeah, every engineer has developed skills right from the undergraduate days, right to the days in practice. We've developed a number of skills, but these skills get you in the door. Most often than not, these skills are unable to open the door. So this is number one barrier. This is number one problem. Now, most of us have not been able to cultivate meaningful relationships that will escalate our skills beyond the doors and open the doors. And so relationships determine how far you go, irrespective of any part of the ladder of the profession you find yourself. Relationships. So our inability to develop, build meaningful networks and relationships, most often than not, becomes a barrier. And of course, over 85% of opportunities come through human beings, through referrals. So these are the barriers to successful professional development and successful careers and building successful businesses. And so how do we break through these barriers? How do we leverage on networking? We have to have a critical mindset shift. Earlier in my presentation, I did mention that we need to stop networking, literally, as it were, and start building relationships. So in the mindset shift, relationships are categorized here in this webinar today as transactional relationships and secondly, relational relationships. And in my presentation, I have marked relational relationships because in networking, in the context of networking, relational relationship has been found to be most profitable, most reliable, most successful in networking. So today, we have to reorient our minds and have a complete mental shift rather than staying on transactional. Transactional is what can you do for me? You get to meet someone at first instance, after introduction, after the first day of meeting, and right away you're asking, what can you do for me? Engineer Muli, what can you do for me? After the first meeting? No. What we ought to do is to build a relational relationship. And in relational relationship, it goes to say, how can I be useful to you? So the chair of Ikeja branch, after my first meeting with you, I now ask, how can I be useful to you? The technical secretary, how can I be useful to you? In life, in business, professionally wise, how can I be useful to you? That sends a strong message because in the philosophy of networking and building relationships, you don't ask for a favor on your first day of meeting or the first occurrence of meeting someone. You just got to meet someone in the airplane, you got chatting, and you're placing a request right away. No, that's transactional. Why don't you get on and build the relationship and offer to be useful to the individual? So that's the mind shift perspective. And so engineers are trained to solve problems, not manage people. That's our training. So most often it's not our fault. However, we need to build our soft skills. That's why we send DMs saying, sir, I need a job. It doesn't work that way. Like I found on one of our platforms today. I got on the platform and I found an engineer on the platform. I am so engineer. I need a job. That is what we find most often than not. But we need to go beyond that because that doesn't work. It doesn't really grant us the results that we expect. So the grand rule is relationships before request. And this takes us to mastering our network. Mastering networking. In mastering networking, distinguished colleagues, we have a number of principles. So the first principle we shall be looking at is the give first principle. In the give first principle, the philosophy behind the give first principle is the fact that people help people they feel indebted to. This is true. So I help you most often because I feel indebted to you. I help the branch chairman. I reciprocate favors because hitherto she has granted some favors to me ab initio. So this is the underlying principle. We must understand this. People help people they feel indebted to. And so in the give first principle of mastering network, you ask later, you give first. When you have initiated a relationship, you strive to give first and ask later. You may have an immediate need, which is very pressing. But in the philosophy of building viable relationships, you may have to defer your instincts or your request to ask for favors at first meeting. Rather, you should give first. And so we say value is greater than ask. In giving first, you have brought value to the table in building networks. So in the philosophy of give first, we have four major pillars, which are your currency. So wherever you are on the rung of engineering practice, on the ladder of engineering practice, a graduate engineer, student engineer, a young engineer, a not too young engineer, a middle-aged engineer, or a senior engineer, these currencies are cross-cutting, and we have the currency of knowledge. So in Give First principle, you start from what you have. You have knowledge, so you give knowledge, you offer knowledge. You have time as a young engineer, so you offer time. You have connections as a middle-level engineer at our level. We have one or two connections, so you offer connections in the Give First. And of course, you have the ability to be able to rationalize and give feedback. And so we say, you don't need money to give value. What you need is attention. This takes us to the next principle of mastering networking, and that is your immediate cloud and network. So in the act of building very meaningful relationships, we have what is called the low-hanging fruits, which are our immediate environment. And to contextualize it to Nse Ikeja branch, we will leverage on the low-hanging fruits in the branch of Ikeja branch. And so in Ikeja branch, you look around and you find over 200 plus engineers. And most of these engineers are senior engineers who are decision makers. They are contractors, they are consultants, they are at the high echelon of their career in the organizations. And so don't waste this. This is your immediate cloud and environment. Don't waste this. This is a great gold mine for every engineer in the room. If you can use it appropriately, it's a great gold mine. This is just Nse Ikeja branch, let alone the branches in Lagos, and then extending to other branches of the society the world over. And for your information, we are very strong on every continent of the world. The Nigerian Society of Engineers, we have strong presence. So this is our hottest network, and it's already here with us. So what do you do? How do you leverage on this? After every meeting, assuming you're a member of Nse Ikeja branch, you attend branch meetings, you attend technical meetings and committees, you have WhatsApp groups at the branch level, at the national levels, we have mentorship programs. So the action to initiate in mastering networks is after every meeting, pick a minimum of 3 people in every meeting, branch meetings, technical committee meetings, what have you, and learn to connect with these 3 individuals in their areas of practice and offer to present a solution or ignite a discussion in their area of practice. When you do this, you become the solution and not the beggar. No one wants to be used, distinguished colleagues. So we have to find a way around to offer solution. When we offer solution, after branch meetings, after interactions, then you translate. You become the solution and not the beggar. In mastering networks, distinguished colleagues, the next principle number 3, is follow-up. And in follow-up, we have what is called the 48-hour rule or principle. You'll agree with me that after this meeting, most of us won't follow up with ourselves. We'll only stumble on ourselves probably in the next branch meeting, physical meeting, or the next conference, or the next engagement. And so most people collect cards and just get them stocked in the shelves or in their card shelves. So if you meet someone, if you collect a business card, or after initiating a relationship or stumbling over a network, the 48-hour principle requires that you follow up in not less than 48 hours or within 48 hours. And this follow-up is crystal simple. You drop a message, you drop a voice note, you drop a WhatsApp message, great pleasure meeting you, or how can I be of help to you? How can I assist how can I improve in what you're doing? Just within 48 hours. And of course, 90% of people never do this. And that is why we meet the barriers in cultivating meaningful networks and relationships. The next principle in mastering networks is principle number 4. And in principle number 4, it has to do with being very visible online and offline. And on the online visibility, we are recommending you're being very strong on LinkedIn. Why are we recommending being strong on LinkedIn? In Lagos, almost all the chief executives are online at about 11 p.m. scrolling. So, being visible online and being strong with your online presence affords you an opportunity and a platform to build a meaningful network. So, while chief executives are scrolling within their area or sphere of influence at about 10, 11 p.m. before going to bed or retiring, they are stumbling on your comments. And these comments should be technical comments. There should be meaningful comments. There should be comments that will improve on what you are doing at the moment. And in mastering networks, it does not only confine you to being visible digitally. Yeah, we understand and appreciate the fact that the digital networks are affording us very fantastic opportunities of meetings, but we don't restrict it there. We also make ourselves available in physical meetings. This will afford us the opportunity and the privilege for in-depth communication, in-depth relationship, in-depth interactions. So in mastering networking, we take our relationships, we take our networks, we take our meetings beyond the virtual space and also translate them to physical meetings. And in doing this, there are a few mistakes that deter us from getting to our preferred destination in our act of networking. And some of these mistakes is what we call what kills your network. What kills your network? And so meeting someone at the first instance, asking for a job in message number 1, after getting someone contacts, that is a destroyer of your network and relationship. Because already in Nigeria, we're already apprehensive in individuals walking up to us to get connected to us. So it's a natural barrier. So in building networks, we are trained to break those barriers, not to get into those common mistakes of asking for a job in the first message, in our first interaction. One of the other common mistakes we also get involved in is the fact that we only reach out when we need something. For instance, after today, I only call the chairman of Ikeja branch probably when I need votes, or when I need an assistant, or when I need her to get something done for me in Lagos. That's a capital error in the philosophy of building networks and relationships. You don't only reach out when you need something to be done. Most often, when I see my phone ring and I see some names pop up, I know there's a challenge somewhere. These individuals don't just call you because they want to check on you. They don't send messages because they want to check up on you, to know how you are faring, to be an encouragement, to be a part of your success, but they need favor from you. So that is common mistakes most young engineers get involved in. Only reaching out when you need something. Not following up, like we've mentioned, is another mistake. Also being generic, let's connect. You meet someone or you're chatting somewhere or you're connecting virtually, let's connect. That's a generic mistake that becomes a barrier to building very meaningful networks. So don't disappear for 11 months and reappear with SAR. Any opening, that kills trust. So after meeting a senior engineer in your branch, you get talking, you disappear for 11 months, reappear with the next note, sir, I need a job. That kills trust because you've not been able to build a meaningful relationship and network. So in building meaningful networks that will be meaningful for our professional and business lives, we have what is called the power circle. You don't need 500 contacts to move you from point A to point B to your preferred destination. That's a crowd. You don't need that. What you need is about 10 people who know your name and trust you. So in your power circle, the maximum you need to build meaningful relationships, to build meaningful businesses, to build a meaningful career is a maximum of 10 persons in your network. Having over 10 is called a crowd. So in the power circle, you need 2 mentors who are ahead of you. Probably you're a young engineer, and in the branch, you've recognized and made 2 mentors, probably the branch chair, the technical secretary, the vice chairman, any past branch chairman, or senior engineer. So you have 2 who are well ahead of you, probably 10, 15 years ahead of you on the seniority cadre of the profession. You just need about 2 who could mentor you. Secondly, you need 3 peers, about 3 peers. 3 peers are those on the journey with you. Your colleagues who are probably of the same level, the same year of graduation, the same year of registration with the NSC, or those who are 2 years ahead of you or 2 years behind you. Those are your peers. So they're on the journey with you. So that is part of the power cycle. And then thirdly, you need clients and customers. So a maximum of 3 clients and customers. Probably you are into IT. So you need about 3 clients or 3 customers who could pay your bills, who could get you going, who could provide your income and your spread of income. So for a start, in the power cycle principle, you need about 3 clients and customers. And of course, lastly, we have what we call influencers. And these are very, very respected, high-profile senior colleagues. And we say the influencers are men and women, senior colleagues who open the doors. These are people who have gone far ahead of us in a career. So we need these components of the power cycle to be able to make reasonable impact career-wise. And distinguished colleagues, I like to say here that this power cycle is not only for young engineers, it's not only for middle-level engineers, but even for very senior engineers, because all of us desire to consistently make progress in our career. We desire to make consistent progress anywhere we find ourselves. This is a political season, and we expect engineers to get into politics, to participate, so we could find ourselves on the table where the national cake is being shared. And to be able to break through and get recognized and get involved in the power game of our society, we need these members of the last rung of the power circle, of the power network. Most importantly, influencers who open the doors for us. I found about 2 or 3 weeks ago the appointment of our chair, the chairman of Nse Ikeja branch, by His Excellency the Governor of Lagos State. And that is quite heartwarming. The name wouldn't have been recommended without influencers, senior engineers, probably the name of the branch, probably elders of the branch, who opened the doors for the branch. So even for the branch to make consistent progress, we must have influencers. We must have people highly placed. We must have leaders who will be able to open the doors for us as a group, as an organization. Even for the Nigerian Society of Engineers at the highest leadership level. We have challenges where non-engineers are appointed into engineering roles. And most often than not, the reason we're unable to get this corrected is the fact that we don't have very highly placed engineers high up there who could open the doors to the presidency, who could speak to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who could speak to the Senate President, who could speak to the Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives. Look, these XYZ ministries, Ministry of Power, Ministry of Mines, Ministry of Water Resources, Ministry of X, these are MDAs to be manned by engineers. This is the deficiency. And so this is why this webinar is extremely important. So as individuals, as organizations, as Nigerian Society of Engineers, we need a minimum of 2 influencers at the highest level who could open the doors for us. And distinguished colleagues, we call this the power circle. This is at the heart of networking and building meaningful relationships. And so we have a case study. Our case study is hinged on an engineer who, after graduation, a young engineer, after NYSC, offered to support 5 small, medium scale entrepreneurs, small businesses, to support 5 small businesses with free energy audits through the NSC connections. Mind you, this is a young engineer who decided to offer voluntary services to 5 organizations in the area of free energy audits. And so what was the resultant effect in 9 months? Out of these 5 small industries, 3 became paying clients to the engineer. 1 out of the 5 referred him to a bank for a solar financing. And of course, in every circle you find ourselves, like we say in our local parlance, amongst every 12, there must be a Judas. So in the 5 of the organizations he offered voluntary service, he got results from 4. And if we were to score this young engineer academically, we'll say he has scored A+, because 3 out of the 5 became paying clients. They became his clients. He secured retainership. So he began generating income and revenue and a livelihood from the volunteer service he offered. And of course, 1 gave him a referral to a bank for a solar financing. And all of this happened in 9 months. So this is an explanation of the force, of the power of networking and building proper relationships professionally. So it's not just about having mentors or mentees. It's not about meeting individuals, but in this case study is about offering service, adding value, bringing value however little it is, bringing something on the table. And look at the fantastic results. He earned a living, means of livelihood from 3. You can imagine what it means to have 3 paying clients on a monthly basis as a young engineer. He runs into several digits of hundreds of thousands. And of course, having a referral in the banking sector to providing services. So this is the force. This is the advantage. This is what networking can bring to the table in advancing our professional career. And so what are our next steps? Our next steps, the challenge before us today, distinguished colleagues. Today is the first day of the week. So do this week. Reach out to 2 people with value around your circle of influence. Don't just feel motivated today and forget tomorrow. Pick 2 people now and send them a direct message immediately after this session. This could be people you've met within the branch or in our conferences of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, or individuals you stumbled over in course of your practice, and over time, you may have lost contact. So reach out to a minimum of 2 people with value. Don't ask for favors. The next day challenge is comment on a minimum of 3 industry posts. All of us are on social media. And so rather than depleting your data on placing comments that are of no value, restrict yourself in the coming week to making 3 industry posts that are relevant to electrical and electronic engineer. If you're an EE engineer, post relevant to civil engineering, post relevant to mechanical engineering, posts relevant to AI, artificial intelligence, which is the driver of the circular economy today. So devote your time and be purposeful about it going forward, and see this as the challenge for the week. Attend at least one NSC meeting in this month. We are privileged to be here today for this webinar. So in the next 1 month, ensure you are in at least one physical meeting if that applies to Ikeja branch. And then finally, follow up with at least one old contact. Who is that friend? Probably your secondary school mate, university mate, someone you met during NYC, or a business partner you got involved in a project. You were on the Dangote refinery project, or you were on the rail project and you've lost contact, or you've stopped communication, a boss, one of your bosses who mentored you mean. So follow up with at least one old contact. And so we say between you and your goals is the bridge. So the bridge between you and your goals. We are getting into about the second half of the year. And most of us, the first day of the year, we had our goals written for the year 2026. Probably we have achieved 20%, 30%, 40%, or 50%. And so we have an outstanding of a percentage of goals to achieve for the year 2026. Or in your career, in your organization, you have goals. As an individual, as a young engineer, you have goals. So between you and your goals is the bridge, and that bridge is good relationships. And so we say a good set of relationships will create a network that will help you in time of need, whether at work or in difficult situations. Distinguished colleagues, build bridges, don't burn them. You're a member of ESCO, of Nse Ikeja branch, you are in your organization, you are somewhere, don't be the problem. Don't burn the bridges, build them. Engineering is a long cycle. Project takes a number of years. For instance, the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road, this is about the second or the third year, and it could take another 5-6 years to completion. Refineries take a number of years to build. Infrastructures take a number of years to build. So your reputation travels faster than your CV and beyond Lagos. You design structures to last 50 years and above. So build relationships like that. Build vibrant and valuable relationships that will last the test of time. Be the engineer people want on their projects when things are going south. When things are going south in your organization, be the engineer that everybody wants on the project, that everyone wants to associate with. And so by way of concluding, distinguished colleagues, your skills get you noticed. Your relationships get you chosen. Build the network now, and your future self won't have to beg for opportunities you could have earned with one real conversation today. Engineers build bridges. We build roads. We build power plants. But the most important thing you will build is relationships. That's what gets those projects to you. It's not just about your skills. It's not just about your knowledge. Most projects are not advertised. Most opportunities are not advertised. It's the relationships. Like this morning, I woke up and I saw a chat, a message on my chat, someone seeking to hire a number of engineers on a project, high-profile project. And so this is not advertised. So I quickly forwarded the request to a number of civil engineers, and I know some of them are on the call today. So most projects are not advertised. We get them through referrals. Remember, distinguished colleagues, it's not just about what you know. It's also about who you know and how well you know them. I want to thank you most profoundly for your attention this evening, and I implore all of us, let's go build now. Thank you for your attention.
Oh, this is actually mind-blowing. This is actually great. Please, if you are not too busy, I want you to actually appreciate our guest speaker for the day. Please use the emoji. Use the emoji. This is actually mind-blowing. Thank you very, very much, sir. When the professor is talking, when the doctor is talking, you know. So he's actually talking from experience. It's not just talking by, mere paper. I really appreciate this, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Engineer Indifon,
Thank you.
PhD, FNSC. We appreciate you, sir. This is actually a great one.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, sir. And to all our listeners today, I want you to also take something from all what the doctor has been saying since all this while. He said something, and I wrote, said, your technical skills get you hired, or keep you in a room, or take you to a room, but your relationship will keep you, or that is actually going to tell you how far you're going to stay in that room. Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful lecture. This is actually a great one. We really appreciate you. We appreciate your time. This is actually mind blowing. So, this moment we'll be going to question and answers. So, please, if you have a question, I want you to just raise your hand using the emoji so that we can call you in for your questions, please. When you have a question, kindly raise your hand so that we can call you for your questions. Or you need clarification, or you want a contribution. So this is the time for you to make your contributions or raise your hands for questions. So at this moment, I am expecting more questions from young engineers that are actually on the call, even senior engineers too. Uh, Please, or are you trying to let me know that doctor has actually simplified everything for us, so we are good? So, okay, I have someone on the call already. Engineer Ajika, please, you can unmute yourself now and speak. Thank you very much. Engineer
Hello,
Ajiko.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much, my able doctor. I really appreciate your presentation. Honestly, I must confess that your presentation has really broadened my horizon of engineering mindset. So I really appreciate your effort, and I'm so happy to be in attendance of this webinar. So as
Thank
I
you.
said, my name is Engineer Ikeja from Umuahia, Abia State. So I really appreciate your effort. Then my question goes in this direction. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right, thank you very much. And my question goes in this direction. In some engineering firms, as you earlier said, that engineers are not all that recognized, that we need a mentor, something of that nature, for somebody in our engineering cycle. Then, of course, I really and I'm in agreement to what you said. But the thing is that in some engineering firms doesn't really recognize engineers. Let me use my firm as an instance. My firm is an electricity distribution company here in Umuahia, Abia State. But it's unfortunate that we have so many engineers, including myself, who has gone far into engineering practices, both in the field of civil, electrical, and other aspects of engineering. But it's unfortunate that the top positions of our organization are being handled by non-engineers. Like someone like me, I have met so many um, cases over about that, but it seems to be non-avail. I don't know if could it be because that other engineers are not interested to raise the issue of non-engineers holding some key positions of the organization, or could it be that it is how the organization is being structured that non-engineers are not allowed, sorry, engineers are not allowed to handle the key position rather than non-engineers? Then what that pains me most or that matters the most is that these positions are they are all engineering positions. So how and why could it be so? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer GK.
Yes.
TS, please, you have the floor.
All right, thank you very much. So, do you want the question together, or because we still have other people raising up their hands, so that
We could
maybe we
take
can
two. We could take two
at a
and then
time.
respond to them,
Okay.
and then take the next couple of questions.
All
Yeah.
all right. So, the next person on the call, Engineer Ernest, you can unmute yourself and speak, please.
Hello,
Engineer Ernest.
good,
Yes.
good evening, our
Good
doc.
evening.
Good evening, organizers. My name is Engineer Ernest. I'm from NSC Ugeli branch, but I presently reside and I work in Port Harcourt. I want to thank our speaker tonight, the speaker this evening. I think I enjoyed the lecture so much because I joined very early. I think for a long time I've not enjoyed lectures like this. So I want to thank him for this great lecture. And my question goes thus. We're talking about connecting with people, meeting with people, getting good relationships. So my question is, as an engineer, if you're trying to connect with somebody and he's not responding positively, you send several messages, and not to even bother him, not to ask him for a favor, but you find out that this person, he doesn't even give you face, he doesn't want to reply to your messages. How do you overcome this? Yeah, this is my question. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so my Chairman Mark, can I take the first two questions? Do I have your permission to respond, Chair?
Yes, you can respond to that while we take the other questions.
All right. So thankful for these questions. Engineer GK from Abia State, thank you for your concerns and the compliments. Top positions not held by engineers. This is a source of worry, not only to you, but to a greater number of engineers all over Nigeria. We find key positions. For instance, we have the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, a pure engineering organization headed by an architect. We have some of the MDAs under the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and departments of engineering or those having to do with engineering, not headed by engineers. So the first lacuna, the first gap is the fact that most of these organizations, especially government organizations, their enabling law, the enabling law of the organizations from parliament are not very particular, are not very strong on the fact that engineers must be the heads of these organizations. I give you an example. When the DG of Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency was appointed by the President of the Federal Republic, the Nigerian Society of Engineers, the leadership of NSC nationally, sent a letter of protest to the president. The president requested the permanent secretary of the ministry to appraise vis-a-vis the enabling law and revert. And shockingly, the enabling law establishing NISA was not firm on the fact that the DG must be an engineer. So it was just fluid. Those that formulated the law were not specific. So this is part of the lacunas. And most politicians capitalize on these gaps and get non-engineers appointed to roles that hitherto are expected to be filled by engineers. And so what do we do going forward? While I was the chairman of NSC Calabar branch, the state government was to establish the development agency of the state. Development agency. And so there was a law, a bill that was sent to the House of Assembly for consideration. And immediately we got wind of this bill, we mobilized our past branch chairmen, fellows of the branch, and members of the branch who've been in government. As branch chair, I led that delegation to the House of Assembly. We had an interface with the speaker and sought to make a submission in building and passing that law. And by the grace of God, by our commitment and our contributions, we made reasonable inputs in the enabling law. And the law, as passed by the parliament, prescribed the DG of the organization must be an engineer of so number of years of practice. So this is what we ought to be doing as engineers in our various branches, not just nationally, because most of these ills are perpetrated at the state level, at the national levels, and in organizations. So speaking about private organizations, I agree with you, most private organizations is the politics of the workplace. And like I've said over and over, this is the reason for my desire to consistently share the thoughts on networking and relationship building. So if an appointment to a role, an executive role in organization is coming within your organization, you should have been able to build credible relationship with your bosses, with the people you work with. And these relationships will afford the opportunity, the privilege for your nominations to roles that should be filled by engineers. So this reverts back to the essence of building very meaningful relationships. However, in all of this, there are still isolated cases where engineering roles are being filled by non-engineers. The truth of the matter is, everyone wants to be an engineer because the role of the engineer is the most attractive in most organizations. We control the budgets, we control the projects, we control the infrastructure. So everybody wants to have his hand in the pie of the engineer. And so this is why we need to build the Nigerian Society of Engineers. We need to be part of our branches. We need to strengthen our collaborations, our interface with government and private organizations to say, yes, we are present, we are strong, we have all that we need to offer service as Nigerian engineers. So the place of visibility, we have to become very, 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 very visible. The next question is from Engineer Ernest from Ugeli branch. Connecting with people, and those individuals are giving you cold shoulders. Yeah, it happens. I've also have instances where I make efforts to build relationships. I send messages and no response. But like we've said in the power circle in this slide, if you follow critically, for me, I don't need more than 10 persons in my power circle. Having more than 100 is a huge crowd. So if you try one individual, one mentor, and it's not forthcoming, you switch the gear. So we have a whole lot in the basket. So keep trying, and your efforts will definitely yield results to fetch you the power circle of no more than 10. Thank you so very much.
All right, thank you very much for that brief answer to the question. So I still have two hands up. Engineer Lubukola, you go first. Why after you, Engineer Babajide Ajanaku, FNSC, we follow.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. Please confirm if you can hear me clearly, sir.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Actually, I got my current certification this January. I got registered, and before then, the question is similar to what they have asked, which was also happening in my place of work. especially when you talk about mind shift. Well, when we talk about mind shift, when I got to place where I was working in Lagos here last year, they have they have an engineer, but when I got there, even the least technician doesn't listen to him when he made the correction. So I fought a lot from the design stage to the execution stage. So since I now got approval by the current, why I was, because it's always my mind to to be part of the member of the Nse Ikeja due to I'm working in Maryland. I can negotiate. It's just by luck. I saw this on Facebook past 4. I said, this is an opportunity. It's very specific. So when I got current certified, I challenged so many attitudes at the workplace. And for the last 1 month, they came up that no, that being an engineer doesn't make me like to be in a leadership position. So and to just cut the whole story short was like, oh, they have to like say I have to go to a leadership training if I want to be like a leadership training. So now my question is, how do you keep relationship in such an environment
A
when
toxic environment.
yes, when non-engineers see themselves being superior than you, knowing fully well that you you know what they didn't know. It's it lies on you. So that's my question, sir. And the second question is, thank God, because I'm supposed to pay for NSC registration. One of the things is not online. Will the branch be picked online, or after I paid is when I'll pick the branch? That's the second question.
Okay. So your second question is membership of the branch?
Yes, I've been doing it on online, about to pay for the registration, but I don't know if after paying, that's when I'll pick the branch, or before paying that I'll pick the branch, because I wanted to pick Ikeja branch for proximity.
The branch chairman is here. She will respond to that. All right. Can we have the next question, please?
Okay.
Thank you very
Engineer Babajide. Yes.
okay. Okay, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, our presenter, Engineer Dr. Vijay.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir, for the insightful and educative webinar presentation. We appreciate you very well for it. And
Thank
thank you
you.
for your time too. Uh, I have a question and a little comment. You're talking about a meaningful relationship and how in the engineers, have to have a very good relationship, with one another and also in their place of work. Now, I have a scenario. What in a situation or in a circumstances whereby you have an agency of government, and in that agency of government, there's a particular department that was created in that agency of government. And that department was created solely for an engineer. And in fact, it's an engineering department. And by the time the implementation of the department commenced, you found out that a non-engineer was placed as the head of that department, a non-engineer. And it became something else, because most of the unit, not just even the unit, the personnel in each of those units in those departments. We're all technical people. And you have a non-engineer. And you know, when you're talking about meaningful relationship, and we would say that the person who is at the ends of affair, the permanent secretary, let me put it, let me just come out. The permanent secretary, who is the accounting officer, who is at the ends of affair, we will say that he doesn't have relationship with the engineers that will now make the person to now put a non-engineer to head, when you know definitely that that particular position was made for an engineer. In fact, let me just give you a little background. In fact, that department, that particular department was not there from the onset. In fact, it was the engineers that put up a proposal, sent it to the governor to look at and approve the creation of that department. And the governor gave a nod, approved it, passed it through the necessary process, and it was approved, and that department was created. In fact, the agency in charge of creation of departments across the MDAs took it up, and they ensure, in fact, they nominated an engineer to head it. And even to make the matter worse, the person that put a non-engineer, there's even an engineer. So in such situation, will you say that they are not having a relationship and or there was not any meaningful relationship? Even if there's not any relationship, I can't get the correlation where somebody who is an engineer, you are an engineer, you are the account officer, you are an engineer, and you are putting a non-engineer in a particular department that the mandate, even that department has a mandate, and the mandate is that an engineer should head it. So I want to understand, probably maybe I'm not seeing what you are seeing. Maybe I'm not really, you are an elder in the profession. Probably maybe because he even has to take the intervention of the national to this matter that I'm talking to you about. So probably maybe I'm not getting or understanding the ideal behind it. Maybe you can throw more light. Why would such person? Because not even only in this case, so I've seen it happen even in the federal level too. They have to take the intervention of the national body and even the regulatory body to stop such things. So can you please help us more on it? Does it mean that they don't have a meaningful relationship? What would have caused somebody to do such a thing? Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you so very much. The anchor, please. You're in charge, sir.
All right,
Can
sir.
I respond to the last two questions?
Yes, we still have two people that still want to ask question. I think
Maybe
that
I
would be the
respond to
last.
the last two while you give opportunity for last three and we call it a close.
Okay, sir.
All right. Thank you for the privilege, Anchor. Distinguished colleagues on the call, this is a very interesting webinar. And I'm super excited to respond to this because this is the core of the issues in engineering practice. Engineer Babajide FNSC, Babajide Ajanako FNSC, thank you so very much. You are in an organization where staff of the organization feel engineers shouldn't be at the management echelon. Yes, in some organizations, that happens. And so if you are in such organizations, there are two things you could do. Number one, your training with the bachelor's in engineering empowers you to head any organization anywhere in the world. Your training, your membership of NSC, and your licensing by Korean gives you the platform to rise to the peak of your career in every organization. So is to get the relevant information, probably from Korean, and transmit it to your organization. There has to be a reorientation of the members of staff of that organization. It doesn't only require someone with to be a chartered member of the Nigerian Institute of Management to rise to managerial cadre. No. I'm in government, and even in government, an engineer, the entry level of an engineer is at the directorate cadre. What I mean is you grow through the ranks and file to become a director in the organization. So you can become the managing director. You can become the executive director. Your training empowers you to be that. So there has to be a reorientation and a redirection of your organization. However, for whatever is worth, if the guidelines of your organization prescribe you're having additional qualification in management, I mean, what does it take to become a member of the Nigerian Institution of Management? It takes nothing. So you could go through the registration processes. It's additional qualification, so it enhances your capacity and ability to function in any role. So if that is the requirement of your organization, you just go ahead and do that. I'm sure it won't take you up to 6 months to get that certification, so you don't get limited in your organization. Having said that, the next question, oh, sorry, I responded to Engineer Olubokola. Yes, the next question is from our distinguished fellow, very distinguished engineer, Babajide Ajanako. You have clearly cited and replicated what is going on in a number of engineering organizations. Now, the response to this is, it took the engineers in the organization, the technical personnel, to create this department or to request for the creation of this department. And for His Excellency the Governor to have assented to the creation of the department, there must be an enabling law through the parliament. So, assuming there was an enabling law, this is where the lacuna is. Does the enabling law prescribe in clear-cut terms that an engineer must be the head of that department? If it does, it is very simple. You just raise a small memo, drawing the attention of His Excellency the Governor and quoting the relevant provisions of the enabling law that created the department. And I'm sure attention will be drawn and those ills will be corrected. Now, if that route is not giving you results, you just write a request to Koren through NSC, stating the circumstance and highlighting that. And I'm sure, having been in the highest leadership of the NSC, we've intervened in a number of these queries. We found our colleagues in universities, in organizations where they are not properly placed, where the positions of engineers are being subverted. And these queries have been taken up by NSC leadership. And Koren has done what they could or what it could or the needful to correct those ills. So these are administrative procedures. And I'm happy that you brought this up. And I want to call on all engineers, wherever you find yourself, please forbid it that the role of an engineer be ceded out to a non-engineer. Because if we allow this to happen, posterity will hold us responsible. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for that wonderful feedback. Really appreciate it. I'll be calling on the. Okay, before that, I want to respond to Engineer Lubukola. So for your registration process, you can actually take my number on the screen. Then you message me, then I can put you through on how you go about your registration at the branch level. Thank you very much for that. So I'll be calling on Engineer Adeleke Ayemi for his question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. I want to appreciate our presenters for a wonderful delivery. I really enjoy your teaching, and I want to appreciate Engineer Nemot also and our coordinator also. Now, I have a little contribution and a question concerning what we have been discussing so far about engineers. Just to support what our presenter has said, what I can see there is engineers, we are far away from policy making. I take it again, we are far away from policy making because I see that our job. See the way that our curriculum is, with our job is, it take us close to machines, take us close to projects, take us close to operations, so to say. We are burnt out with operations and we are far away from people. That's the major reason why engineers have been shortchanged. And I want to that's why I appreciate this webinar, whereby our eyes are open to what leadership can do. So is an eye opening to engineers that coupled with our technicalities is not enough. We need to see the power. There's so much power because it is people that make law. It's people that make decisions. It's people that take decisions on our behalf. So we just need to know that we have to be close to people. We have to close to policymakers. We have to, just like Presenter said, we need to open our mind. Like the case of the example, you say we should go for management calls, MBAs, and be friends with policymakers. These are how, when we have more people, engineers in policy making, it's because we are so few up there, and that's why we are being cheated. We are so more. When we are 10, we have 4, 5 engineers. Definitely one will drop to our hand. But when we are 10 people there, non-engineer, they will share the opportunity within themselves. So that is my own contribution. Now, my question is when
Question again. All right.
sir?
Go ahead.
Yeah, my question is when you talk about we should not hesitate to make our need known when we meet people. I want to ask, when we meet somebody online, let's say LinkedIn, so to say, let's say LinkedIn, how best can you uh, introduce yourself, or make yourself, sell yourself, somebody that you meet online? You don't have much opportunity of seeing or one-on-one, but you see him. How best can you utilize online? That's my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can go with the answers.
Okay, Uncle.
I
I want to think this is the
I
last
want to think this is
question.
the last question.
Yes, definitely.
Yes,
So that is the last
definitely. So
question.
that is the last question.
All right. Thank you
All
so
right.
very
Thank
much
you so very much for
your inputs.
your inputs.
The question is
The
meeting
question
someone
is
on
meeting someone
LinkedIn.
on.
How best do you ask for a favor? If you look at the slide, our presentations, though few of the details were removed from the presentation, so you could make it straight to the point. Probably I'll send the comprehensive slide to you so you see the processes of initiating this course. When you meet someone online, we have said our task for this week on this webinar, we have said our task is, first of all, reach out to 2 people with value. So when you meet people on LinkedIn, you don't just ask for favors, because you have to build a relationship. And we have said comment on 3 industry posts. LinkedIn is a professional platform. So your circle of influence professionally gets you into the web of LinkedIn. So you could comment, you could make few technical comments, and you follow up with that gradually. Gradually, you are strengthening your network. You are not, when you now further make the request, you are not a complete outsider, but you will be leveraging on the relationship you've built. There is nobody in the world, there is no relationship in the world, especially virtually, which will just be one-off. No. there will be another opportunity of meeting when you have added value. So the emphasis here is not placing a request at the first meet, but to bring value, to make comments, to bring contributions. We have said as part of the low-hanging fruit, what you have, part of your advantage is the fact that you have technical skills, you have knowledge, you have time, you have feedback. So you could give a feedback on the LinkedIn connection. You could add knowledge, it's part of your currency. You can bring a connection. So you could just add something, no matter how little it is, and it will be a building block to being visible, even on LinkedIn. So this is my perspective, and this has worked marvelously for a number of colleagues, practically speaking. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir, for that.
Please, can I speak? Can somebody see? Can I speak?
Okay, sir.
This is Mustafa.
Just 1 minute, sir. Thank you very much.
Chairman, can I speak?
Yes, go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
I'm
the floor, sir. You have the floor.
Hello?
You go ahead, sir. You can speak, sir.
Yeah, I want to comment the Lagos branch. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah,
Ikeja branch, sir.
Ikeja branch.
Is that Ikeja branch?
Yes, sir.
Well, I have a nostalgia for Lagos. So I did my NYC there. Some of you are not born, 1973. And I stayed in Bushwick area. So when anything happening around Lagos, actually, I feel some nostalgia for that. And I want to commend the Ikeja branch for holding this lecture series. It's a pity I came late. So I want to appeal to you that you should make available to me a copy of the e-copy of your quite interesting lecture. And once more, I want to commend the Ikeja branch for hosting this conference. Thank you.
All right, sir. No problem, sir. You can drop your message, or you can message me directly on the WhatsApp so that you can get the e-copy, sir. Thank you very much for that wonderful feedback. All right, so at this moment, I want everybody to applaud our guest speaker for the day. Please kindly use the emoji to applaud him. He has actually tried, and he has given us back to back on how to actually maintain a good relationship. Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful lecture. This is actually very, very commendable. So
Thank you,
we'll be
my
moving.
uncle.
We'll be moving to the next, which is presentation of certificate to our guest speaker for the day. And I will be calling on our engineer Ganiyu Owolabi, FNSC, to help us in the presentation of the certificate to our guest speaker for the day.
Good evening, my chairman. Good evening, all participants today. It was a nice one to really have listened to Dr. Ikeja. You know, I've been following him online, but I never got to know him. But his presentation today has made him very, very visible. Thank you so much. I think the younger ones should really have more benefits. We, the older ones, yes, we'll take some notes out of that, but we have actually sufficiently gained a lot. I want to really say one thing to Dr. Ikeja. All your references, I just want to really refer to Nwobodo's Anambra State. In those days in Anambra, if you wanted something in Anambra State, you had to really have Imam Madu. Then if you went beyond that, you had Imam Madu Amaka. I hope people who speak the language understand it. They needed somebody to know. So there was Imam Madu Amaka. And so if you didn't know anybody, of course, you were on your own. So I think the relationship is very, very important. Thank you very much, Dr. Ikeja. On behalf of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Ikeja branch, let me present this e-copy or certificate of appreciation to you. You've been very wonderful. And I think with a lot of experience Yeah, as I said, some of us don't have any value for it again because what networking are we going to do? But the younger ones should really have a lot of benefit out of this. Thank you so much. And I hope when we invite you in future, you'll not hesitate to come around. Thank you and remain blessed.
Thank you. Thank you, my chairman. Thank you, sir.
I'm over, my chairman.
Very much. Also, we'll be having the feedback from our guest speaker. We need the feedback from you, sir.
Thank you very much, Engineer Gani Owulabi. I really appreciate it. You have the floor, cheers.
All right. So I'm calling on the our guest speaker, Engineer Indifon, for the feedback on the certificate presented, and if you have any other thing for us.
Thank you so very much. Your Majesty, the chair of Nse Ikeja branch, our performing chairman, my sister and my friend, members of your entire team, including the technical secretary who has moderated this webinar this evening. I am profoundly proud of what is happening in Ikeja branch. I thank the chairman for the leadership you've provided for about 2 years now. And you've led Ikeja branch to the next higher level from where you met it. About 5 years ago, my friend was the chair of Nse Ikeja branch. We were colleagues, branch chairman from the year 2020 to 2022. Engineer Tosin Ogumola. And so consistently, Ikeja branch have thrown up very quality leaders. And no wonder we had the first ever female president of the society from Ikeja branch of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. So today I am extremely proud of all members of the branch. I've presented webinars in a number of branches. Almost every week I've been speaking to engineers across Nigeria. And I must say, the coordination of this webinar is second to none. From the anthem of the branch to the progression of the programs of events to the quality presentation of the certificates. So I want to encourage the leadership of Nse Ikeja branch under the distinguished leadership of very distinguished engineer, Engineer Molly, fellow of the society. I know there's a whole lot of responsibility. The expectations from Ikeja branch are very tall. And I want to appeal that elders, members of the branch should consistently, as it is the tradition of Ikeja branch, to give us quality leaders as chairman of the branch. I want to thank all our partners and commend all those who have been following up with us on this thought of networking and building relationships in all our presentations across the branches of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. It is our expectation that we will grow a society that will give hope and direction to the younger generations. It is our expectations that the leadership of the Nigerian Society of Engineers will be rested on the shoulders of engineers who have the ability to be influencers of our secular society, engineers who have the capacity to knock on doors that ordinary engineers cannot get opened. So it is our expectation that in the next future, we will have leaders of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, even at the highest leadership echelon, that will walk into the villa, the presidential villa of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, have breakfast with the President of the Federal Republic, with ministers in cabinet, and advance the welfare of Nigerian engineers. This is the destination we truly look forward to arriving as members of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. I want to thank you for all the support you've accorded me in the past years. You voted massively in my 2 terms in the National ESCO of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. And by the grace of God, this year, I'll seek your support to be voted as the Vice President of the Society representing the South-South. Thank you once again for this opportunity. My name is your humble servant, Engineer Dr. Ndifon Agbiji, Fellow of the Society. Thank you, my chairman. Thank you, distinguished colleagues.
All right, thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful feedback. So at this junction, I will be calling on Engineer Yusuf Abdurazak for the closing remark. Engineer Yusuf Abdurazak,
Yeah,
member
thank
of
you
the
very
Nigerian
much.
Society of Engineers. All right, sir. Yeah, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, moderator for today, as the technical secretary of the branch. Good evening, our distinguished chairman, our highly respected guest speaker for today, Engineer Dr. Indifo Agbiji, esteemed ESCO of the branch, our revered elders, senior colleagues, and our very vibrant young engineers. On behalf of the Nse Ikeja branch, I want to sincerely appreciate everyone who has joined today's technical webinar. Has actually been very collaborations and strategic networking as essential tools for career advancement and personal development. Our sincere appreciations goes to our distinguished guest speaker for today, Engineer Agbiji, for taking out time to share practical experiences, professional insights, and valuable guidance with us. I also want to appreciate the branch chairman under the leadership of Engineer Nemo Tumeli and the technical committee for actually organizing these timely and enriching webinars. To all our young engineers and other participants, I want to encourage us to allow the lessons from today's end with this meeting alone. Let us continue to build positive relationships, engage professionally, uphold excellence, and also create opportunities for growth within and beyond the engineering profession. Thank you once again for your active participation, the thoughtful contributions, and commitment for continuous learning. We look forward to seeing everyone in our next programs. Thank you and have a pleasant evening.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for that. Thank you very much, Engineer Yusuf Abdurazak, MNSC, the ex-official of Nse Ikeja branch. Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful closing remark. So at this junction, we'll be drawing the curtain for this webinar, where we'll be closing for the day. I really sincerely want to appreciate every one of us for staying tuned up to this present moment. This is actually a great one. Thank you very much, and we continue to see you on our next edition for the webinar, and also on other programs that we'll be having at Nse Ikeja branch. This is actually a great one, and we continue to see you in most of our programs. Thank you very much, and God bless you. So we'll be moving to the branch item as we close the program for the day.
There is no other branch of the NSC like Ikeja branch. He's the 32nd branch of the NSC. He's a branch to man. Building a viable engineering culture dedicated to bring out the best and to nurture the best of the best. The second to none is Ikeja branch. The best of the best. The second to none is Ikeja branch. With God on our side, will be no fair and wide. Where the branch to watch. With wisdom we will lead, and discretion we will build, will be known for certain. Together we will make a great nation proud. Innovations and professionalism all around. The best the best. The second to none is Ikeja branch. Best of the best. The second to none is Ikeja branch.
Thank you. So closing prayer, which is the 10,000 of national anthem.
O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty Nigeria may be
Amen.
blessed.
Thank you all. So we can take this moment for interaction. You can do your connection and try to meet one or two people in the next 5 minutes before we close the portal for the day. Thank you all. We really appreciate it.